This is UMAR AHMED for IFL team in association with MTK Global. I'm joined by Sam Cox. Been a while since I've seen you, mate. I know a lot's been going on in your life. Firstly, you've been out in LA. What were you doing out there?
I was just out there with my cousin. He fights for a promotional company called Karate Combat, and basically it's the first ever karate full contact sport, so there's a lot of punching involved. So I coach him with his boxing and stuff like that, so he brought me out as a coach, and obviously I'm in camp now for my next fight, so I kind of used it as a bit of a week in warm weather training and try and sort of, my aim before I went out was trying to get some rounds down at Wildcard and actually come off. So I was so pleased with that, and yeah, it was a good trip really in LA.
Now, if you go on BoxRec, obviously you've been really inactive. Last time you fought was March. There's been a reason for that. Do you want to just sort of explain what's happened with your mum?
Yeah, so I last fought March the 10th, and my next fight is March the 9th this year. And the reason behind that was I went straight into from that fight straight into camp for probably one of the biggest fights of my career, which would have been a televised show for David Haye on a Joe Joyce undercard. I sold about 3 or 4 tables previous to the show even being announced, and basically got sort of 2 weeks into my camp, and I turned around and I couldn't train, I couldn't focus. Just about a week before my last fight, my mum was diagnosed with cancer. So when she was diagnosed with cancer, I thought, you know what, the best thing to do is just to run on into the next camp and just push forward and like make her proud. But sort of when we found out she was sort of able, still walking about, still like a normal person as such, so it was like she wanted to book her last holidays, go out for meals, like just do normal stuff, and it was like, how could I, when I'm boxing I have to sacrifice all of that. I can't go and eat, I can't go on holiday, I have to be full 24/7 in the gym, otherwise I won't step foot in the ring. So I took a year out to sort of look after, or my sister was the biggest help. She looked after my mum from start to finish. I was just there as and when I could, and just to be there for the last sort of experiences, like her last holiday and stuff like that. So actually, unfortunately, my mum passed 2 weeks ago, and I got back into training probably about 6-7 weeks ago, just as she was getting really bad, and I knew it was sort of time she was going, to prepare myself to be ready to fight for once she was gone, sort of make her proud and carry on what the good things I was doing sort of previously. So,
Listen, deepest condolences, I really do mean that. Obviously, I can't even begin to imagine what you've been going through over the last 2 weeks. How have you sort of coped with it all, if you have?
To be honest, I've got a great support network around me. My sister has been like a blessing. Like, I can't believe how strong my sister was for the whole family, not just me. The other thing is I've got my dad, who's sort of his big name in amateur boxing. He's sort of been all around the world with the England setup, sort of refereeing, and he was Olympic qualified referee. So like he was there. He made sure sort of we all had everything we needed, and we all had sort of a supporting, loving family. Also, my girlfriend, sort of, she's there when I need to talk and when I need them private moments. But to be honest, it was harder dealing with her having cancer than her not being here, because to watch a woman that's so strong suffer is probably the worst thing I've ever dealt with in my life. So, as much as it was the hardest thing, her going, it was also a relief, and for my family as well. So, but yeah, it's just time to make her proud now and just push on, really.
Of course, it is going to add extra motivation to your career, whatever way you look at it. As you said, she was, what, 6 months in bedridden, you told me earlier?
So yeah, so like when we obviously found out, she was just like me or you. Like, obviously she was not well, but there was nothing substantial that was obviously wrong with her in terms of walking, talking, being a sort of active person. And basically when we found out, they gave her 12 to 6 months. So after about 3 or 4 months, I'm thinking my mum's normal. Like so we booked holiday, we went out, we done stuff, And then literally her birthday was in August the 8th, my mum, and 2 days after, that was it. Like, my dad took her to the theatre, she had like a great birthday, and she started getting feeling a little bit more ill, but literally 2 days, that was it, bedridden like for the next 6 months. So from August up until till now, really, it's been like the hardest time in my whole family's life, literally, and to watch such a strong woman like be broken by something that like, but to be honest, my mum never let it break her. Like, her spirit was always there. She was so strong that the nurses, the palliative care team that looked after her, could not believe like the drugs they pumped her with, like to knock her out and relax her. Nothing worked. Like, she was like, she shouldn't have been able to, like, obviously she's bedridden, but she'd like move from the front room to the bedroom and stuff like that, but she shouldn't have been able to walk. It should have knocked out a horse, the stuff she was having, and it was like she just kept pushing right until the last sort of couple of days, really.
Of course, no one wants to lose their mum, but the fact that you'd sort of had it in your mind that it was coming one day rather than just being a one-off shock on a day, did that help in any way?
Yeah, like, to be fair, obviously there's nothing in this world that can prepare you for that, nothing. But obviously going through it and watching the bad times and watching her struggle, like I said, it was a bit of a relief when she did go. Obviously it was the worst day of my life at the time, but it was a relief as well. So we prepared as a family, and nothing can, like I said, prepare you for it. But we all got there, and to be honest, since she's gone, like, obviously I had that trip out into LA and I had a funeral now. Her funeral was only last Thursday, and I feel like I've got this like new drive, like this extra like determination. I feel like she's on my shoulder, or she's pushing me that extra mile. I've never trained so hard. I've never ate so good. Like stupid things. Like, I never ever ate greens in my whole life. Like, throughout cutting weight, dieting, boxing my whole life, I never eat greens, and like people used to go mad at me for it, even my mum. And like, went out to LA, started eating a bit of broccoli, and next thing I'm like greens are like my best mate. Like, I've never ate so good. I've never ate so much and lost so much weight in my entire life. So it's really going well, this training camp. Off the back, I think, of my mum spurring me on, really.
We said you're back out in March, which is not far away at all, on a Goodwin promotion at your call, so must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I just can't wait to get back out in action, shake the rust off, and push on. I'm out March 9th on a big bill at York Hall. My family's all from the East End, so we get a big crowd down there, and it's such an event. So if you want to get in touch and sort of grab a ticket, it's just follow me on Instagram. It's literally Sam with 2 M's, Cox. Just follow me in and message me for a ticket. But it'll be a great night, one to remember, and I've got a couple of surprises up my sleeve. So,
what sort of year are you expecting? Are you sort of looking to rebuild this year and maybe titles in 2020?
Yeah, like, I'm quite a realistic person, and I know where I'm at, and I know where I want to be, and 3 or 4 fights this year, maybe pushing 5 if I can. That's like really pushing it, because I do work full time as well. If I can get them in, obviously remain undefeated. This time next year, I want to be pushing for your Southern areas, your English titles at my weight, and really push on from there. But this year is just about actually having an active year, because after my debut, I sustained an injury to my knee running for the next camp. That's completely and utterly fine. I've never had a problem with it since. Then I boxed. There was like a 6-month gap between my next fight. Boxed in March, and then obviously what we just spoke about has left me inactive. But it's kind of like me starting off again. But I only had 2 fights. So there's not a lot to rebuild from. They're still going to be the same sort of opponents that I'm dealing with. Just get through them, and then we'll push on for later rounds. Say back end of this year, I want to be fighting sort of maybe 6 to 8 rounds, feel what it's like to get into them sort of championship rounds, and then sort of this time next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, and obviously if Steve's got high hopes for me, then there'll be titles hopefully to come for me.
Just lastly, Sam, anyone who's going for a tough time, you know, with their family, any family member, or if they've lost someone close to them, now that you've experienced it, what sort of advice would you give? to someone going through that?
Yeah, I think everybody's slightly different, but I think if you've got a good tight knit family, talk to your family when you're having them hard days. Have a little cry, like get together, make sure you're speaking, make sure you stick together, and even your friends. Sometimes you can be close to your friends and you are actually your family just because you choose them to be your friends. You know what I mean? You don't choose family, and just sit down and talk things out. And there will be hard days, but there will be good days as well. And how I like to look at it is, like, for example, we had the funeral. It was a celebration of my mum's life. There was no sad music. There was no black being worn. There was hardly any crying. It was literally a party for my mum because that is the person that she was. She was the life and soul of the party. So why wallow? Like, why? Obviously, people got upset, people cried, but like that was not the purpose. The purpose is to celebrate, and moving forward, I'm gonna live my life as my best ability, so that I can honour her in the way that she lived her life.
Well, I'm sure when you're out at York Hall next, she'll be proud and going sort of moving on with your career. But listen, from everyone at IFL, we wish sort of the best to your family and yourself in this time. And as you said, there are going to be dark days, obviously, and everyone will deal with it differently. But try and stick in there and focus on your fight. Just a last message in terms of tickets. How can people contact you?
Yeah, so as I said before, main contact would be Instagram. It's literally Sam with 2 M's, Cox _. Message me. My number and email is on there as well. So they're £40 standard tickets and 65 ringside. So let me know if you want to come down. There'll be a strong army down there, and we have a great after party after. I won't be drinking, but we have a great after party at the RE Hotel straight after the fight, and there'll be family and friends, and everybody's on a good vibe. And obviously, once I get the win, then it'll be even better.
Sam Cox, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV and just opening up on what's happened recently. Thank you.